You know, when royal commentator Emily Andrews speaks about Prince Harry, you listen. She's covered the royal family for over 12 years, and this week she made some fascinating observations about Harry's surprise UK visit that have everyone talking. Let's hear what she had to say.
Actually, if you're looking at just his kind of what he's done this week, which was very successful, I think he's done a very good job. I think it's great that he did meet his dad, because I think from a personal level, both Harry and Charles have said that they wanted to meet up, but also from a kind of PR perspective, it is a little bit tricky if you have the renegade prince, flying in from California, doing such a good job, doling out all that money, and then you've still got, as Nick says, Princess Anne, doing the hard slog.
Well, I just wondered, Emily, whether if you're William, you're at this point really cheesed off, because he's sort of flown in, he's done this love drop, and William has been busy this week, but no one has noticed.
Yeah. No, you're right, and it is interesting. I mean, when Harry and Meghan were still here, I mean, I don't think it's breaking any royal secrets to say there was quite a lot of competition, shall we say, between the two brothers. And obviously, Harry goes into a huge amount of detail in his autobiography, Spare. There's been no suggestion that Harry and William are going to meet up. I don't think they've even spoken to each other for some time, a long time. And it is interesting that this dynamic that obviously Charles has met Harry, is this going to upset William? Did William even know? Certainly when one of Charles's top aides and two of Harry's met up in July, which was kind of, I thought, the beginning of a reconciliation kind of process. I'm not even sure that William even knew that was happening. So great that he's potentially, things are thawing with his father, but things are still very icy with William. And you're right. I mean, if you're Prince William, it's a bit galling, isn't it? Because Harry's kind of got doing all the fun jobs, and don't forget the context. The reason that no one really from the royal family has spoken to Harry is because of all the barbs and vitriol and grenades that he fired at his family, namely, Camilla, the King, William, and indeed the Princess of Wales, Kate, through all his TV interviews and his book.
Thanks so much, Emily.
Absolutely spot on from Emily there. And that's exactly what we're diving into today, Harry's whirlwind return to the UK, his first meeting with King Charles in 19 months, and the question that's dividing royal watchers: is this reconciliation real or just another royal PR move? But before we get into the analysis, let me paint you the full picture of what actually happened during this visit, because the timing and the optics are absolutely fascinating. Let's be completely honest here, this timing couldn't have been more perfect for Harry, and I don't think that's an accident. The monarchy is facing its biggest crisis of confidence in decades. Royal support has plummeted from 86% 40 years ago to just 51% today. More than a third of Britons now say they prefer an elected head of state. That's a seismic shift, and it's happening on King Charles's watch. Enter Prince Harry, stage left, with what can only be described as a masterclass in royal rehabilitation. In just a few days, he managed to tick every box that the struggling monarchy desperately needs right now. First, the Well-Child Awards Harry connecting with sick children and their families, showing that natural compassion that Emily Andrews mentioned. Then, an Invictus Games event, reminding everyone of his genuine connection to wounded veterans. But here's the kicker: a £1.1 million personal donation to children's charities. Not from the Sussex Foundation, not from some corporate partnership, but apparently from Harry's own pocket. And then the pièce de résistance tea with Daddy at Clarence House. The first face-to-face meeting between Harry and King Charles in 19 months. 19 months, let that sink in. A father and son who couldn't manage to be in the same room for over a year and a half. But here's where it gets controversial, and this is where Emily Andrews' insights become crucial. Critics are calling this a classic love-bombing strategy. Harry flies in from his comfortable California lifestyle, writes a £1 million check, generates overwhelmingly positive headlines, poses for photos with adorable children, and then flies back to his Montecito mansion while the working royals continue the daily grind. As one particularly astute caller to the radio show put it, he breezes in, writes a personal check for 1.1 million, everybody's delighted about it, and then he flies back to Montecito. Meanwhile, the rest of the royal family are slogging it around. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say, the future king, who got completely overshadowed this week. While Harry was generating headline after headline, Prince William was also working. He launched initiatives, attended events, did his royal duties. The problem? Absolutely nobody noticed. This is where Emily Andrews' expertise really shines through. She revealed something that many of us suspected, but few have articulated so clearly. There was always quite a lot of competition between Harry and William when they were both working royals. And she's not just speculating here. Harry himself detailed this extensively in his autobiography, Spare. But the current situation is even more psychologically complex than their childhood rivalry. Andrews confirmed several bombshell details that really illuminate just how fractured this family remains. Harry and William didn't meet during this visit. They haven't even spoken for a long time. And when Andrews says a long time, she means a really long time. Even more revealing, when King Charles's top aide met with Harry's representatives back in July, which Andrews identified as the beginning of this reconciliation process, William might not have even known it was happening. Think about that, the heir to the throne potentially being kept in the dark about negotiations with his own brother. Now put yourself in William's shoes for a moment. You're doing the job you were born to do, the job you've been trained for your entire life. You're making appearances, cutting ribbons, meeting dignitaries, doing the unglamorous but necessary work of modern monarchy. And then your younger brother, who walked away from all of this, who criticised you publicly, who aired your family's dirty laundry in a best-selling book, flies in for a few days and gets more positive press coverage than you've had in months. As Emily Andrews noted, from a PR perspective, it's a little bit tricky when you have what she called the renegade prince doing such good work while others are doing the hard slog. That's royal correspondent speak for this is absolutely infuriating for the working royals. The psychological dynamic here is straight out of a family therapy textbook. It's the classic prodigal son scenario. The brother who stayed home and did his duty gets ignored, while the brother who left and caused drama gets celebrated when he makes a brief return. But here's the million-pound question, literally. Given Harry's donation, can Prince Harry be trusted with royal duties again? And more importantly, should he be? Emily Andrews made what I think is the most crucial point in this entire discussion. The reason no one really from the royal family has spoken to Harry isn't just about geography or logistics. It's about what she called the barbs and vitriol and grenades that Harry has fired at his family through multiple TV interviews and his autobiography. Let's be specific about those targets, because this isn't just general family drama. Harry has publicly criticised Camilla, calling her dangerous and suggesting she leaked stories to the press. He's accused his father, King Charles, of lying and cutting him off financially. He's detailed private conversations with William, portraying him as hot-tempered and physically aggressive, and he's made implications about Catherine that have been interpreted as criticism of her character. That's pretty much the entire senior working royal family that Harry has taken public shots at. So when people ask, why can't they just forgive and move on, we need to understand the scale of what forgiveness would require here. One radio caller captured the skepticism perfectly. When discussing Harry's private meeting with Charles, they cynically noted, "Yeah, until your next book comes out." That's the crux of the trust issue. How do you have genuine private family reconciliation when previous private moments have become best-selling public content? The royal family has learned through painful experience that anything they say or do around Harry might end up in his next media project, his next interview, his next book. That's not paranoia, that's pattern recognition. But here's what's really interesting about this trust question. It cuts both ways. Harry clearly doesn't trust his family either. In his book and interviews, he's portrayed himself as the victim of a cold, calculating institution that was willing to sacrifice him and his wife to protect other family members. So we're not just talking about whether the royal family can trust Harry. We're talking about whether Harry can trust them, and whether either side is willing to take the emotional risk that genuine reconciliation requires. Despite all these complications, there are still people who believe Harry should return to royal duties. And I have to say, some of their arguments are compelling. One caller to the radio show suggested that Harry and Meghan could finally implement that half-in, half-out arrangement they originally proposed back at Sandringham in 2020, spending part of the year doing royal duties in the UK and part pursuing their independent lives in California. The argument has genuine merit. Harry and Meghan remain, as one supporter noted, the most Googled people on Earth. That's not just celebrity gossip, that's measurable global fascination that translates into soft power for Britain. Harry clearly still has the charisma, the natural people skills, and the charitable instincts that made him one of the most beloved members of the royal family. This week's visit proved that Harry hasn't lost his touch. Emily Andrews observed that this was like the Harry of old, and she's someone who's watched him work for over a decade. His interactions with children at the Well Child Awards, his connection with veterans through Invictus Games events, his genuine warmth with ordinary people, none of that was manufactured or artificial. But here's where Emily Andrews' expertise becomes invaluable. She doesn't think this reconciliation will lead to Harry returning to royal duties. She believes neither the royal family wants Harry back in a working capacity, nor does Harry want to return to the constraints and protocols of royal life. And when you think about it practically, how would it even work? Harry is based 5,000 miles away in California. He's built a life there with Meghan and their children. He's got business commitments, media deals, charitable projects that are rooted in American soil. You can't effectively serve as a working royal when you're living in a different time zone and completely different culture. The current arrangement, as messy and imperfect as it is, might actually work better for everyone. Harry can make occasional high-impact visits like this one, generate positive headlines for the monarchy when they need it most, contribute significantly to causes he cares about, and then return to his chosen life in America. It's royal duties without royal constraints, all the good PR, none of the daily grind. From Harry's perspective, why would he want anything else? So what's really happening here? What game is being played beneath all the public statements about first steps and improving relations? I think Emily Andrews hit the nail on the head when she talked about this being a little bit tricky from a PR perspective. The monarchy is in crisis mode. Support is at historic lows. Questions about their relevance are growing louder, and they desperately need positive stories. Along comes Harry with a perfectly orchestrated visit that generates exactly the kind of coverage the monarchy needs: charitable work, personal connection, genuine emotion, and significant financial contribution. It's a masterpiece of public relations, but it's also potentially problematic for the long-term health of the institution. If Harry can fly in occasionally, generate massive positive coverage, and then disappear back to California, what does that say about the full-time working royals who are doing the unglamorous daily work? More importantly, what does it say about the monarchy's values? Are we rewarding the person who left and criticised the institution while taking for granted the people who stayed and served? This visit has also exposed the fundamental dysfunction in the royal family's communication strategy. The fact that William might not have known about Charles meeting with Harry's representatives in July suggests there's no coordinated approach to this reconciliation process. Different family members are operating independently, possibly at cross purposes. And then there's the Meghan factor, which we haven't even discussed yet. She didn't come on this trip. Was she not invited, or did she choose not to come? Her absence speaks volumes about how partial and limited this reconciliation really is. Emily Andrews made another crucial observation. This is more about personal healing than professional reconciliation. A father trying to repair his relationship with his son, not a king trying to bring a working royal back into the fold. But even that personal healing has professional implications. Every photo of Harry and Charles together, every positive news story about their relationship, every sign of family unity helps the monarchy's public image at a time when they desperately need it. So, in many ways, this visit serves everyone's interests. Harry gets positive coverage and maintains his connection to his father and his homeland. Charles gets to play the loving father, working to heal his family. The monarchy gets a much-needed PR boost. And William gets to continue doing the actual work while his brother gets the headlines. So where do we go from here? This meeting between Harry and Charles is being described as a first step in improving relations, and I think that's probably exactly what it is. Not a prelude to Harry returning to royal duties, but a father and son trying to repair their relationship after years of public acrimony. Emily Andrews' insights suggest this is more about personal healing than professional reconciliation, and that makes sense. Harry has built a successful independent life in California. He's found ways to do meaningful charitable work without the constraints of royal protocol. He can make significant financial contributions like this £1.1 million donation without having to clear it through palace bureaucracy. The question isn't whether Harry can do good work this week, proved he clearly can. The question is whether the trust can be rebuilt, whether the family relationships can be repaired, and whether there's a way forward that serves everyone's interests. I think we're going to see more visits like this one, carefully orchestrated, limited in scope, designed to maintain connections without creating ongoing obligations. Harry will continue to live his life in California, but he'll probably make more regular trips to the UK, especially for major family occasions and charitable events close to his heart. The royal family will benefit from these occasional positive news cycles, especially during challenging times. Charles gets to demonstrate that he's a caring father, working to heal family divisions, and Harry gets to maintain his connection to his homeland and his charitable work without giving up the independence he's fought so hard to achieve. But I don't think we're going to see a return to full working royal duties. The trust issues are too deep, the practical challenges too significant, and frankly, the current arrangement works too well for everyone involved. What this week has shown us is that Harry still has star power, still has genuine compassion, and still has the ability to generate positive coverage for the monarchy when they need it most. But it's also shown us the limits of reconciliation. Some bridges can be partially rebuilt, but they may never be strong enough to bear the full weight of restored relationships. That's my take on Harry's reconciliation visit and what it really means for the future of the royal family. What do you think? Is this genuine healing or just sophisticated PR? Can the trust ever be fully restored? And should Harry return to royal duties? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell for more Meghan and Harry tales. Until next time, I'm Adrian, and thanks for watching.